Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining from. Thank you for being here. Welcome back. I'm back in the studio. I'm back here today. I am actually live. I don't know how I can prove it to you now because the last stream where I was fake live but still live was pretty convincing, I thought. I can prove it to you by saying hi to some people in the chat. How about that? Hello from Benidorm. I have no idea where that is. Qual Comedy, hello and happy Sunday from Statesville, North Carolina. Good to see you here. All right. Yeah, so it's been like 3 weeks since I actually was live, which is very unusual for me. Did not intend to skip that many weeks. But the 2 weeks ago, the streams I skipped, I knew I was going to be busy at this time in Seattle. And because of that, I pre-recorded a live stream on Thursday with members of the channel, did a little members only stream, and did a live stream as if I were live, had a conversation, tried out some stuff, just like we normally do here, recorded the whole thing, and then completely automated my studio to play back that recording live. So automated everything from going live on YouTube to showing the map to playing the recording, hitting the time right to get the outro music working. And I think it went pretty well. Let me know what you thought. I'm actually curious, did I fool anybody at first thinking I was actually live? Because I didn't mention it for a few minutes into the video. Anyway. Oh, Benidorm is in Spain. Well, awesome. Thank you for joining. That makes sense. Great. So you could have had people drop comments to still fool us that it's live. It's true. Yep. But yeah, I did a pre-recorded stream because I wanted to see if it was possible, I could do it. And also because I wanted to still have something come out on Sunday live. So it was fun. IT Never Gets Old says that pre-record thing was very tricky. Oh, good. I'm glad. I thought it was hilarious. The main thing that made it work was the feature in Companion called triggers, where like all of my entire show is run from Companion. So I normally am pressing buttons on this page to do things like change camera angles or turn on and off audio, or even where's my stream keys page. Even this page is where I can actually start and stop the actual live stream. And that means for everything except the actual go live button in YouTube, everything is controlled through the Stream Deck. So what I did was I made it auto start, and that way as soon as YouTube starts getting streaming video data, it would actually go live. And then in Companion, everything was done with triggers. So I turned them off because I didn't want to automate it today, but here's the sequence of buttons that I press preparing for a show, right? Run the pre-roll, it starts the countdown, loads the right thumbnail, actually go live on YouTube, show the map, start the show. The only difference was that this one actually then starts the video playback as well. And then at the end, same thing of like running the credits, hitting the logo, ending the stream, stopping the stream to YouTube. This was the one tricky thing which I added, which in the middle of the recording, I actually went and cut to a live video of the room that was then empty, but it was my live camera because I wanted to really prove that it was actually live. So that was the only segment in the live stream that you saw that was not actually pre-recorded, because that part was actually live. So I had to add a time, add a trigger at a certain time, which was based on the recording time, so to cut to that room and then cut back to the recording, and it worked. It worked. I was very happy about it. I did do a trial, which is why those triggers said Friday and Sunday. I actually did a trial of it on Friday, where I had it set to run all of the triggers at the same time, but on Friday instead of Sunday, so that I was just in here working, and then all of a sudden, like, the music starts playing and things start happening, and I'm like, oh, I guess that means it's working. But I was able to watch back that recording and see if it actually worked. And that's how I had a little bit more confidence that it wasn't going to be a complete disaster on Sunday. Because a complete disaster, when I'm actually live and can help and can troubleshoot things and explain what's going on, is fun. That's what you're all here for. But a complete disaster where I can't react to it, less fun. So I'm glad it worked. Anyway, how is everybody? How is everybody? Hello, hello to everyone in the chat. A lot of thinking ahead and a whole lot of work. Yep. It was a lot of planning. This is a good point. One of these days you should move to Companion 3, neat stuff with triggers and multi-stage buttons. Yeah, it's probably actually time for me to update to version 3. I've been holding off because I didn't want to deal with testing all of my integrations to make sure they all still work with version 3, but I think it's been officially released long enough that I should just do it. But it's always one of those things, like, I have to have time to test it. I guess I could do it during a show, but that sounds dangerous. Doing an end-to-end trial run on the automation. Yeah, totally. It was my only wish is that I had a easier way to trial these timings. Like if I could make these triggers relative to something, because I could only trial this on a different day of the week, but at the same time of day. Like what I want to say, this trigger runs at time 0. Time 0 is Sunday at 9:50. And then when I do a trial, I can be like, oh, time 0 is Saturday at 8 p.m. And I can try the night before. And then all of these would be relative times. Maybe that's in version 3. I haven't updated version 3 yet, so we'll find out when I finally do that. Back up your Pi and do it live next week. Could try that. Could be fun. But yeah, it could also be a disaster. Companion 3 upgrade and integration testing live on air. Let me know if you think it'd be fun to do that live, because it could be a total disaster. And while it's down, while I'm doing the upgrade, I'll have to use manual control options, like actually using mix effect or the software control. Actual stable release is 3.1.1. Okay, yeah, it's probably time for me to update to version 3 then, if that's the version that they're on now. There was a new studio in Nebraska that was completely automated. The cameras in every shot was done by pushing a space bar. Triggers for the video, graphics, everything. That's really cool. Yeah, that's really cool. I would love to get more graphics into this stream other than just the beginning and the end, because I just need to actually create all those assets, or hire someone to create the assets of, like, it'd be fun to have more intermediary screens or stingers and things like that. So yeah. Oh, this is a good point. Run Companion 2 on the Mac temporarily. That's a good idea. Okay, that's a good plan. I will take my existing Companion config. I will copy it, restore it onto the Mac version of Companion, and then redo the Pi live. That's pretty good. Okay, everyone says it'd be great to do it live. Okay, that's a good plan for next week. Should be no reason I can't do it next week. I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's anything happening next week that would. Yeah, pretty sure I'm here next week. Haven't been able to think that far ahead yet. Everything's chaos. Everything is just a big scheduling mess. I have 2 or 3 more trips this year before I am done traveling, and I'm looking forward to not traveling for a while. A lot of TV stations are fully automated now. They just use the space bar and a lot of coding beforehand. Makes sense. I mean, a lot of radio stations too, right? Roxanne says, I'm really late. Did I miss your email reminder? No. Okay. I need to fix this for myself. The problem is that my email reminder goes out if I post a live stream scheduled, it will send the email 30 minutes before. Most of the time, that's fine. What I did start doing was these members only behind the scenes streams, and that I don't necessarily schedule as far in advance, although sometimes I do, and it will start anywhere between 15 to an hour before this live stream, which, by the way, it is live right now, and they are on that stream. The view people are seeing is the view of my studio, which is, I think, a little bit less messy than it was last time I showed you this camera. A little bit. Anyway, we start early. I talk about setting things up and doing last minute tweaks and stuff, and then same at the end. So what I had to do for that one was, obviously I don't want to blast that out to the email list because you would get 2 emails every stream, and that'd be annoying. But I had to like hand code some some corner cases to be like, okay, if it says members only in the title, don't send it out to the stream. The problem is that there isn't actually like a flag in the API for members only. It's weird. Probably a lot of legacy reasons for that. So I had to check the title. But last week when I canceled the stream last minute, I don't like to just not post anything on the channel, because then if you go to my channel page, it just looks empty. And I end up with people commenting on random videos being like, are you going live? What's going on? I don't see a live stream. So I always post a placeholder live stream that says like no live stream this week. I schedule it for the same Sunday at 10, because then if you go to my channel page, you will actually see this with the thumbnail that says no live stream, and it says like no live stream this week. And then it's very clear that I'm not doing a stream. And people can comment in that if they want, or usually they don't. But that way there's no question. So I do actually recommend doing this. Like if you have a regular time that you do a stream and you have to cancel it for some reason, then don't just make it, don't just go disappear, because people will not be able to tell what's going on. So post a placeholder with the message about what's going on, like, oh, I have to cancel, out of town, whatever. And that way people have something they go to your channel page and they see it and they're like, okay, now I'm not going to like hang out and wonder why my YouTube is broken, right? So the problem is that my email list would then blast that out to everybody, and I don't have a good way to make it not blast it out. And sometimes I have forgotten about that, and it has in fact blasted out an email to everybody saying there's no live stream this week, which is not helpful. So this time I realized in time, and I turned off the email. So, and then I left a note to myself in that file saying, don't forget to turn it back on. And of course I forgot to turn it back on. That's why you didn't get an email today. Long story short. Okay, looking through the comments here. Oh yeah. Oh, TBJ says 99.7% of radio stations are automated. Totally. You know what would be fun is, now that Lily is working on the radio, like actually hosting the radio on the weekends, she's doing that right now, actually, OPB. And she is dealing with radio automation software every week, all the time now. So it'd be fun to like figure out how we could share that with you all here, because I don't know how we could do that. But at IBC last week, or 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, I don't even remember when it was. Whatever. Last month, IBC, I found the vendor that sells the software that they use at the radio station here in Portland, and they had a booth there. I texted Lily like, hey, what is the name of the software you use? I bet they have a booth here. And sure enough, they did. So I got a little sneak peek of the radio automation software that they actually use from the vendors at IBC. So that was fun. That was wandering into the expo hall that full of things that are in a completely different world than video production, and most of it was just like a foreign language to me. It was fascinating. How about scanning a keyword for the automailer? Yeah, I need to do that. So I need to just make sure that I know that I always use a certain word in the title. Usually I've been calling them no live stream this week. So I could add a search for no live stream, and I'm unlikely to use that in a real live stream, so that'll probably work. That's basically what I do with members only ones. I notice you're wearing a mic today. Are you not using the overhead microphone? Okay, so another question about, is the lav mic a test or is it actually live? This is the mic that I'm wearing is the Rode Wireless Pro lav mic. So this is the I need one more light for this shot. This is the little kit, the Rode Wireless. I think the camera's just dark. Let me fix that. Why is it dark? I don't know why. Let me fix that really quick. Where is my overhead camera? Yeah, this is just, it's a little better. This is the Rode Wireless Pro. So it's got 2 transmitters, 1 receiver. It has their little charging case, which kind of fits the USB cable, which is nice to keep it in there. Kind of fits. But then the whole other container is like where all the other accessories are, like the windscreens and it comes with a little lav mic, which is great. So that's what I'm wearing. However, it is not what you're hearing now. It is what is on the members stream. So on the members only stream, I have this microphone going to that stream. That way, when I do the pre-roll and the outro, I can talk to the members on that stream, and they're not just hearing the countdown music with nothing going on. So that is what that mic is for right now. I unfortunately don't have a good way to switch back and forth on this stream. That's not true. I guess I could. Because it goes in, it does go, oh, is that a feedback loop? I don't think it's a feedback loop. Because the microphone's plugged into that ATEM that's streaming to the members stream, which is the one on the desk there. But that is connected back into this, so I can grab the audio from it as long as it's not going, yeah, it should work. Let's try it. Let's make a little button for this, because I need to be able to toggle back and forth quickly. So let's see, where do I have any free space here? Oh my gosh, I have too many pages with random stuff on them. This is the one I was using. So that's the microphone, but I need to change it on this ATEM, not the SDI ATEM. Okay. I don't know what this page is for. Let's get rid of this and use this page. So I actually want to go into the Constellation and grab, there's no presets for it, are there? No. So we are going to make a button, which is going to be called desk mic. Actually, that one I can copy from here. That is oh, right. It mutes it on the X32. Okay. That's fine. So I can mute that microphone. And then what I need to do is ATEM SDI audio. So this one is going to do Constellation, set the ATEM SDI. So that ATEM SDI is where this microphone is plugged into. So this will toggle that audio on this stream. So as long as the microphone is on there, it should send the audio back into here. I think this will work. I should probably also steal these buttons, which are the ATEM SDI audio, because here's the feedback loop that I don't want to create. If this is the audio from the ATEM, the main ATEM, so if I have this on and that on, it'll be a feedback loop. So that's what I want to avoid. Okay, so let's give it feedback, input. No, they don't name it. Yeah, audio mix option, but this one's called input mix option. So I never remember how to find it. Input. Oh, wrong ATEM. Okay. audio mix. There we go. Constellation. ATEM SDI audio. Okay. This should work. Let me grab headphones so I know if it's actually working. Hello. And now the lav mic. Yep. Okay. Now the desk mic and the lav mic. Definitely some noise on there, so we could maybe clean that up. I don't have a compressor going, so let's fix that. Yeah, we can do this really quick. So this should get rid of, let's do, yeah. No, it's a little bit too much. Let's go like right there, just so that it clamps down when I'm not talking. And we can do a bit of that. There we go. Okay. So now we can go back and forth. Let's do a little test. So this is the overhead microphone. This is the lav microphone. Wow, sounds completely different. Probably also sounds very different depending on what device you're listening to it on. So in the headphones, the difference is pretty extreme. I have noticed that when I'm listening to things on an iPad or a phone, the difference in microphones is much less. So yeah. We'll go back to the desk microphone though, because I think that one sounds better. I wonder how many minutes are spent each year searching for the right module and companion. You mean days or weeks? Yeah. The lav mic needs more EQ. Yeah, I didn't do any EQ tweaks. Fun fact, the companion ATEM module is built around libraries that have been developed for a studio automation system called Sophie for Norwegian Public Broadcaster NRK. I thought the ATEM module was built by Skarhoy. I don't know. Or is that like the old one and they switched over? I don't know. Let me scroll back up. Oh, I totally forgot to mention, by the way, I know a lot of you know this already, but if you are new here and you want to make sure I don't miss your question, start your question with the letter Q, and it filters into a different spot on my screen so I can make sure I'm not totally getting things lost in the chats. Speaking of which, have I tried vMix 27 and the new Zoom integration? Not other than at IBC. So I saw the live demo at IBC. I included a little snippet of that actually in the recap video that I did. I did a recap video, finally got my recap video done. It is, I'll drop the link in the chat here. The recap video. So there's a little bit on vMix in there. So I haven't tried it other than that. I don't use vMix day to day, so I don't have a license or anything. So I'm not gonna probably do much more experimentation with that unless people are really curious about it. But it is really cool they did that because I think it's a great option for a lot of people to be able to get remote guests into a stream much easier. Use a fresh card on the Pi and download the full image from the companion website. That way you have a complete backup. I could do that. Maybe, we'll see. I kind of like the way I'm doing it right now because I have it installed manually, but maybe we'll see. I don't know. Good point. I don't know if the 2.0 version export is compatible with the 3 or not. We'll find out. Okay, question here from earlier that I missed. I have a podcast studio using 7 microphones. I want to use the Rodecaster Pro 2. What's the biggest best recommendation to connect the two of them together. The two what together? The Rodecaster Pro 2 doesn't have 7 microphone inputs, does it? So the Rodecaster Pro 2. Let me just pull this up really quick so I can look at it. This is pretty sure it has 4 inputs, 4 microphone inputs. Where's the back of it? Yeah. How would you chain 2 together to get 7 microphones? Interesting question. I guess you could take the output of one and run it into the line input of the other. That should work fine. I don't know why that wouldn't work. I guess it would be those into one of those. Sure, why not? And then you can assign, because you get 6 faders that you can assign to whatever. So you can make one of the faders the input from the other Rodecaster if you wanted, or I guess just leave it at 100% because you don't need a fader for it. Don't do that. Mics need their own channels. Don't do what? Why not use 2 Rodecasters chained together? That sounds fine. Yeah, Rodecaster Pro 2 only has 4 mic inputs. Let me know if anybody else has any other suggestions, but I think that would work fine. Just scrolling back. Rita says, I would not use Rodecaster Pro. That's just not what they're intended for. Instead, get something like a Tascam Model 12. It would do much better. Yeah, I would probably agree with that because it is... Well, it would work to chain them together, but this is similar to the problem I was having with chaining 2 ATEM Minis together for video, but maybe not quite as annoying. And it is, when I was chaining the 2 ATEMs together, the problem is that if you want to show a camera from the one that's behind it, you have to also change the input on the main ATEM. It's not quite the same with the Rodecaster because you can have multiple audio streams active all the time, but it does feel like you're using it for something that's not intended for once you start getting more microphones, and you probably are better off going to a mixer that has enough microphone inputs that you need. I think you'll end up with weird situations like not being clear where you need to go to change a certain setting if you have it split like that, versus in a mixer that has all the channels directly, it's easier to manage them back and forth. I don't know if the Rodecaster does this, but like one feature would be ducking, where if you want one mic to come down when there's music playing, that's not going to really be possible if you're splitting them like that, half and half. So, yeah. Okay, scrolling up. Rita says, appreciate your channel. It really helped me get my live stream business off the ground. Well, thanks. Good to hear it. I'm curious what kind of live streaming business do you do? What kind of gigs do you do? And what gear are you using? You're using the ATEMs or using YoloBoxes? What's your opinion on the Blackmagic design and coding issue with their products with getting cache stuck? I had to buy a Liveview recently because the Blackmagic 4K stopped working on me. I have said this many times, and I think that it is still true. The encoder in the web presenter and the ATEM, the streaming encoder, or the RTMP, I guess, the RTMP implementation really does assume that you have a good network connection, and it does not handle network failures very well. And if you don't have a solid network connection, it's not going to be a good option. And the live view is like obviously made to handle bad network connections because their whole thing is like go outside and stream from stream from random networks. That's, you know, that's great. And I'm a big fan of the ATEM and the hardware for the local stuff. It's just that it doesn't handle bad networks very good. So again, I have no problems with it here. Like I'm using the web presenter right now to stream. Upstairs, Lily uses the ATEM Mini Extreme ISO for her live stream. We don't have any issues with the streaming on those because the network connection here is great. It's you know, almost actually full gigabit up and down, so plenty of bandwidth to spare, extremely low latency, and I don't have any cache filling up. I don't have any weird crashes or anything. But as soon as you go to somewhere that's not a perfect network connection, you will have cache issues. Well, it's more like it doesn't handle bad network connections, which causes the cache to fill up. What you see is it looks like it's a problem with the cache, but it's really just because Blackmagic is showing you that information. A lot of other products might have something like that internally that they don't bubble it up to you and let you see it, and instead it just breaks. So, but that's the deal. Dante is often used for audio. Dante AV is less common. What's the reason for this? I didn't know Dante even had a video option. I have never heard of that before. So I have no idea why it's less common, but it's clearly not made its way to things I've been researching. Didn't even know it was an option. I also have not actually dove into the Dante audio world myself. Right now, I'm still doing everything in this X32 rack on the bottom there. Bill says, has anybody had a play with the new Magewell Director Mini? I have one and it's great with good web UI and apps, but struggling to get SRT out to work. Yeah, I'm curious if anybody has tried it yet. I remember diving into the menus at IBC to try that, and it was working in their demo, and it looked pretty straightforward to me, but I haven't actually got a hold of one yet. Although it looks like I will be getting one in sometime this week to do some tests with. So next week I might be able to actually show you hands-on with it live. And yeah, that'll be cool. So can't show you anything yet, but hopefully next week. Have you tried SRT streaming from the web presenter? SRT is designed to be more reliable. R stands for reliable. I've only done like the smallest tests. The problem is that I don't have there's no way to send SRT into YouTube directly, so my tests with it will be into other things. But the quick test I did with it worked fine. It was easy to configure the web presenter to stream SRT to the streaming bridge, and again, local networks are not exactly solving the problem that we are talking about here, but it would be interesting to do some better tests. I'm like, finally things are a little bit getting close to settle down here from the move, and my travel schedule is almost done, and then I'm going to start the project of this chaos router, which is all these little parts, switches and knobs and dials, getting those all connected. Because then we can do fun things like show the bandwidth on this little meter. We've got the little switches and knobs. And then I have my little measuring tools in here for putting all this together. So I need to measure these actually measure these little pieces and draw out the control panel for it. Because then I'll be able to actually have this router, which we can mess with the network connections on devices and do some better tests. So probably can't do the companion update and the Magewell demo in the same show unless you go long like the old days. It's a good point. That is a good point. So I guess if the Magewell comes in, that's the priority. So we'll do that first. We'll prioritize that. If it doesn't come in, then Raspberry Pi Companion. Sounds like a steampunk build. Pretty much. That's the idea. He talks about bad network connections and it starts buffering over here. Oh no. I don't think it's on my end. Okay, back to the, I see people were talking about the audio question. Maybe he wants audio processing from the Rodecaster, but for 7 mics. Yeah, monitoring is gonna be a problem too, because I mean, you'd be able to hear the final mix in the downstream Rodecaster, but it's still just a weird thing to do. Oh yeah, mix minuses will be a problem also. With a bigger mixer, you might be missing out on some of the features like compressing and limiting, but I would recommend getting a hardware compressor to go in the chain. Well, that's now taking it up another notch too. Noel, finally I'm here. Good to see you. Is the ATEM Mini mic input sound equal to the same as the external sound card or from direct mixer to PC? ATEM Mini mic input equal to the same as an external sound card. It's same idea, I guess. Yeah. Same idea. So plug in a microphone into the 1/8 jack and then it comes out over USB. So that would be similar to a external audio device. The biggest difference between that and like a dedicated audio device is that the audio devices will probably have better or any preamps for microphones, as opposed to and like phantom power for powering microphones. The ATEM is going to work only with the either line input devices like external mixers, or the microphones like the Rode Wireless Pro, where it's meant to go into a camera, but it's not like a powered microphone. Turning Point Communication says, I thought I understood how the non-live show was done until you went live with the empty studio. I know, it was, I wanted to do something a little bit ridiculous. Any news or rumors on SRT for the ATEM? So, okay, I did post a video entirely about this that is entirely rumors. So take this with a grain of salt, but I will put the link in the chat, ATEM SRT. And the video is, unfortunately, I couldn't record the interview conversations with people at the Blackmagic booth at IBC, but I did talk to them and I recapped my conversations in there. TLDR is possibly, probably, but no guarantee on timing or whether it will actually happen. But probably there's a good chance it'll happen, because especially if they get good feedback from SRT in the web presenter. So try it out, see if it helps, and let's encourage them to do that, because I think it is a good idea. I think it's a very good idea. Any recommendations for a 4-way HDMI splitter or reasonable way to input 4 HDMI signals into a TV? Those are opposite things. So if you want to take your video signal and put it on 4 TVs, like to blow it up bigger, that's a video wall. That's basically called a video wall. And there's devices called video wall processors that you can find. And the opposite is, if you have 4 HDMI signals, you want to put it onto 1 TV, that's a multi-viewer device. So those are the things to look for. The multi-viewer, I used the multi-viewer device ages ago, before the ATEM had multi-view in it, in that video. That one works fine. And then I haven't actually used a video wall processor before, because I don't really have a reason to. especially now that I have a giant TV in the back anyway. So um, it'd be pretty fun to have 4 of those. Just have my entire wall just be a video wall. YoloBox still doesn't support 1920 1080 with web overlays, and it's painful. Can you ask them to enable this? I have asked them so many times, and I wish they would I wish they would fix it. I don't know what it is going to take. Maybe it's a processing issue. Maybe that means the Ultra will get it. I don't know, but God, I really want it to support 1080. It's so frustrating having to deal with the smaller graphics rendering window size. So yes, I will keep asking them for it. I think that was even one of the things in my YoloBox wish list video that I made not too long ago. How do you say your name? Coffee Poik? Poiky? What language is that? Just stumbled into your live feed 5 minutes ago. Do you live stream on a regular schedule? Yes, I do. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for being here. I stream normally every Sunday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, with rare exceptions of skipping a week or adding a stream here and there. So pretty regularly for the last like 3 years or so. So yeah, join me this time again next week, and we'll do some more testing of stuff. Sometimes I have gear to test and show. Sometimes it's just Q&A. Another new viewer, thanks for joining. We stream Algarve. Hi everyone, I found this channel recently and like the content. I'm looking for a solution to streaming a running race, like a half marathon. What will be the best solution? That is a very open-ended question. Very open-ended question. I think there's a lot of different ways to go with this. Are you okay with buying a whole bunch of hardware pieces and piecing things together? Or do you want an out-of-the-box solution? Do you know what kind of internet connection you're going to have, importantly? How many cameras do you want? Do you want the cameras to be really far away, or are you going to have all the cameras close by in just one spot? Or do you have camera operators? Is it just you? Those are the kinds of questions then we can start narrowing things down. But so like the YoloBox would be like a good out-of-the-box solution for just a couple of cameras that are close by. I guess you could add a wireless HDMI transmitter to one of them if you wanted something a little bit farther away. But if you want to start going up a notch, adding more automations, more graphics, having other operators involved in the show, then you want something that can be tied together with other devices too. So lots of different ways to go there. Where was I in the, oh gosh. From Redith. Thanks for asking, about what kind of streams you do, what kind of work you do. I stream and record weddings, corporate events, for services, funerals, podcasts, anything and everything. Cool, very cool. Yeah, sounds very similar to the kinds of things we talk about here. Hello, Motherbee. Good to see you in the chat here. My goal is to build a kit that makes it really easy to set up and take down than wanting to experiment with Sony FR7 PTZ cameras that would make up my life easier, but they're not cheap. No, they're not. Yeah. Bill says, if you test Magewell next week, I would love to see you stream SRT to a streaming bridge. Warning you, the Director Mini is great, but the instructions are pants. No demo videos. Interesting. Well, that sounds like a good opportunity for me to make a bunch of videos. I would be curious to see if the streaming bridge can receive the SRT feed from the Magewell, because it's not necessarily supported. It's not officially supported. So if it does work, that'd be very cool. I can try it. Only trick is I use a web presenter for streaming the show, so I'll have to use a different encoder for streaming the actual show. I guess I don't use a streaming bridge on the show, so we can do that. Yeah, that'll work. Jewel says, just bought just bought an iPhone 15 Pro. What's your most straightforward and best recommendation to shoot an interview between two people in an environment with lots of noise around? Okay, so this is actually a great chance for me to mention the Blackmagic Camera app. This was the Blackmagic Camera app was the thing they announced at IBC, and it is a very nice app for the iPhone that has the same style menu system as the Blackmagic cameras, and lets you do all the manual controls and stuff that you want, which is absolutely what you want for doing any kind of like good quality filming on an iPhone. Like being able to manually set the shutter speed, being able to lock your white balance so it's not changing all the time. All that stuff is going to make your recordings that you do on the iPhone much, much, much better. So it's a free app also, so I think this makes it hands down like the best option for doing high quality video recording on the iPhone now. I don't think there's a better option. For audio, that's going to make the biggest difference for your interviewers. And if you have, what do you say, environment with lots of noise around, so the best way to fight lots of noise in the environment is to get the microphones as close to your talent as possible. So this kind of thing is a good start. Any kind of lav mic that you can get them to wear is a good start. However, it is not necessarily the best for a loud environment. So what I mean by that is I don't have one here, but if you imagine, well, here I can. Sorry for the BTS stream, probably getting double audio now. If you imagine that a microphone is right up in somebody's face, this is a lot closer than that, right? So if you get the microphone right up on someone's face, that will give you a much better result, but also the type of microphone will matter. So the like Shure SM58 that they use on stages for things, that's a great option. That's a wired microphone. There's similar ones that are wireless, or you can get wireless adapters for them. But basically, if you put the mic right there and get them to eat it, then that's going to isolate the noise the best. And you can see this in action in the interviews I did at IBC. That one I used let's see if I have yeah, here, I'll drop this link. This was my link to the gear I used at IBC, and this is the microphone I used, Sennheiser MD46. I like it a lot. It has this little accessory attached to the bottom of it where it makes it a wireless mic, little XLR transmitter. But this did a great job of blocking out a lot of the background sound from the show floor. Like, you can still tell you're in the show floor. You're not going to avoid that, but it did a very good job. A lav mic, I think the interview I did at the YoloLive booth, I used a lav mic, and you can tell the difference, but it's still pretty good. Oh no, that wasn't a lav, that was the little headset mic. So again, that's another way to go, is if you have the headset style with a tiny little knob there, then it's really close to your mouth, so it's really clear again. So that's the trick. Get the mic as close as possible to the talent, and then connect it to the phone somehow. So if you're using a wireless microphone that has a lightning connection, or USB-C, because now the iPhone has USB-C, then you'd plug that into the iPhone, and the Blackmagic Camera app would recognize it. So that's how I would do that. Oh, speaking of Blackmagic Camera app, so they just put out an update for this, and one of the things they did was they finally fixed the HDMI out setting. So let me go share this screen into my streaming rig here, so yeah, I can show it to you. So this is the Blackmagic Camera app, and if I'm back on the main screen, now it actually properly mirrors the display. So it used to not actually, it used to actually only work in clean HDMI out. And for some reason, it didn't work showing this overlays in the first version of the app, but they fixed that, so that's nice. And now you can actually see on the video out, which is how I can show this to you now, you can see all the menus. So I can actually go and change the shutter speed and show you it changing, show what I'm seeing on the screen. So that's nice. Obviously, this is like you're not going to do this for live streaming, but if you wanted to record tutorials about the app, now this works well. But they also added 2 other settings, which are, so clean feed was there already, and that worked fine. So that, again, clean feed, this is the best way to get a clean feed out of the iPhone now. Like, frankly, it is just, it's a nice app. It's free. And now you've got, you know, wireless camera coming out of your phone into an ATEM. I'm just shared over Apple TV, so you're seeing the Apple TV feed. It works the same if you plug in a Lightning adapter. But the new setting is, I have to go back here, status text or status text surrounds image. So let me show you what those do. Status text, if I go back to the camera, now it's like a clean feed, but you've got the little, all the little settings around the edge. So instead of it looking like what I'm seeing here, so like, you know, on the phone, I still have the menu system over here, and that's no longer showing up on the feed that you're seeing over the HDMI out, but you do still get the little settings, and it's overlaid on the image. The other one is status text surrounds image, where it shrinks the image to fit so that there's no text blocking the image. So now we've got a little record indicator, the audio levels, the color spectrum thing, all that stuff's now outside of the image. So 2 new modes, useful for various things, I guess. I don't know. I think this is a pretty nice way to have, like, if you wanted to have a large view in the room of what's on your iPhone, then this is probably a good one to have there so that people can see, like, you know, what are the settings, double check the shutter speed is right. Sometimes these are a little bit hard to see on the phone itself because, as you can tell, like if I've got the text over a bright spot of the video, it's not the most legible. It does have a little black outline, but it still can be kind of hard to see. So if you're over a dark area, it's a lot easier to see, right? Let's focus on that. So yeah, if I'm over here, you kind of lose those settings, but that way, if you are showing this wirelessly, you can have the settings a lot more visible. So that's very cool to see those 2 new features. I haven't dove in too much to see what else is new in the app, but I like that they're already putting out updates for it. That's fantastic. And this question is directly related to this from MD Raju. Can we use the iPhone camera as an HDMI input for the ATEM Mini? Absolutely. And the trick is that you need to use an app that has clean HDMI out. I don't know why Apple doesn't just add this option to the camera app, but in the meantime, the Blackmagic camera app is definitely the cheapest and nicest clean feed camera app now. It is, it's nice that it's free. They don't charge extra for that feature. It is a great option. So you can either plug it in with a wire, like take a USB-C or Lightning to HDMI cable to go into your ATEM, or you can AirPlay, which is what I'm doing here. You can just go into let me switch the app to not to mirror display. That way you can see what I'm doing. So, oops, shoot. There we go. Press the wrong button. So when it is, what was I saying? Oh, HDMI out. So this is AirPlayed. So I have, like, I'm AirPlaying wirelessly into the studio, into an Apple TV, and that Apple TV is plugged into my ATEM. So either way, it's fine. The Apple TV is a little bit slightly more compressed feed, and you are at the mercy of your Wi-Fi connection. So hardwired always recommended if you can, but it is a good option too. Okay, wow, I got lost. Let me figure out what's going on in the chat here. Have you tried the Blackmagic camera app on the iPad? On an Apple Silicon iPad, it's great. I have not done it on an iPad yet. That's a great idea. Can you use this app with an external webcam attached to the iPhone through USB-C? That would be neat. As far as I know, no, but I do think that could happen in the future because the iPhone iOS did add support for external webcams in one of the updates, or maybe it's still in the developer preview. I can't remember. That may have been in iOS 17. So if it's not possible right now, which I didn't think it is, it may be possible in the future. It will depend on the app, though. It'll depend on the app to actually add support for that. Does AirPlay work on the network or Bluetooth? It does require Wi-Fi, or it does use Wi-Fi, but it also uses Bluetooth for discovery, because if I'm on like a different Wi-Fi network, it'll show me other AirPlay devices that are nearby, even if they're on different networks. But it does ultimately use Wi-Fi for the data, because I don't think Bluetooth has enough bandwidth to send that kind of data stream. And yes, you can also use cheap Chinese AirPlay compatible HDMI dongles. Some of them are definitely better than others, so don't be surprised if the first one you buy is not as good as an Apple TV, but it does work. Can you split, Mother Me says, can you split the HDMI out of Apple TV, one to the ATEM and one to another monitor? Sure, absolutely, yeah. Most, the HDMI splitters are mostly like no problem. The where they can start to introduce trouble is when either one of the connections is super long. Like if you have really long wires, sometimes they're not powerful enough to send the signal a long distance. And other times they can be weird is if you are going into devices that do like the CEC or any kind of like the auto detection stuff that's fancy HDMI features. But if you're going into the ATEM and into like a regular monitor, it should be fine. And that is, yeah, that would work. Any HDMI splitter you'd recommend? Not really. The problem, well, there's like a whole bunch of HDMI splitters that are probably the exact same hardware internally, and they're sold under different names. And those are fine and cheap, which is nice. Sometimes they're not exactly the same, and some of them do better with other devices. But if you want to go like up a couple notches in price, then there's things like the Decimator has. They're not called HDMI splitters anymore. They do other things like scalers or other features in them, but those are going to be like several $100s. But those are going to probably work a lot better. Oh yeah, OREI makes good ones. I've definitely used theirs before. Let me see if I can find a link to that. I missed this whole Prime Day thing. I was busy last week, so sadly I didn't get to jump in on any of the Prime Day deals. But yeah, this brand I have definitely used some before, and they're totally fine. Let me grab this one. $15. Okay, not bad. Yeah. Why am I not logged into this? There we go. OREI HDMI splitter. This company also makes this device that I'm probably going to buy for the house, which is a video distribution. So taking six HDMI inputs and sending it out to 6 different HDMI outputs like a matrix, but those are extended over Ethernet. So I can have stuff on TVs around the house coming from one place. Let's see how that goes. I haven't bought it yet. Okay, scrolling back through the chat here. Oh my gosh, I'm way behind. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, let's see. Oh, Mother Me says I'll set up my studio again this Friday. I can't wait to see how it goes. You should do some behind the scenes. Dan's planning, so I almost bought a streaming bridge. What killed me killed it for me is that they can only receive a stream from ATEM devices. I know. I told them this, and I hope they take the feedback into consideration, because right now the the alternative is the Magewell Pro Convert, which is a great device, and I think it's a great option. And here's the Magewell Pro Convert. I bought 2 of these myself because they're so useful. This is essentially a streaming bridge, but that works with any stream. So it's receives NDI, it receives SRT, RTMP, all sorts of stuff. So this is what I wanted the streaming bridge to be. Unfortunately, this is more expensive than the streaming bridge, but that's what you get. Do you think Magewell are listening to requests for companion support? Can you ask them again when you arrange for the forthcoming Magewell demo? I will. I asked them about it at IBC. The good news is that it's already technically possible because the whole thing has a web interface. So unlike the YoloBox, who I keep trying to convince needs to add remote control support, the Magewell does absolutely recognize how important it is to have remote control support. So this is the Magewell Pro Convert, and this is just showing like not receiving any signal. But I'm in a web browser, right? And I can go to my thing here, and I can like add or select inputs. I can change all the settings from here. I can monitor it and see what's going on. I can, it's a web page, right? So if I change any of these settings, the website sends a request to the Magewell, which means I can make Companion send this request to the Magewell. And I've actually done that already. Let me see if I can find the button for it. I have, in fact, done this with, I think it's this page. Yeah. So in Companion, I have a button for the Magewell, which changes between receiving the RTMP feed or the SRT feed. And that is, oh yeah, I had to go through a proxy server. Now I have to change that token. Oh well. I had to go through a proxy server because it was a little bit more complicated than Companion could do directly with just one post request, because I had to like do a login. But anyway, it is possible. I would like them to add better first-class support for it, so I will make sure to mention it to them. But at the very least, there is an API because the web page uses it. So that's a good start. Oh, I'm so far behind that I finally got to this comment. Swedish for coffee guy. Coffee poika. Okay, great. Thanks. Rita says, I use my ATEM as a switcher for my shop TV, but I really wish it was 4K. I go from security cameras to Chromecast for watching content to cameras for filming projects. Yeah, I mean, it would be cool if it was 4K. Unfortunately, the 4K ones are very, very expensive. Hardy Media says, have you or would you share how you've done audio routing with your MR18? Well, I'm using the X32 now, so it's even more complicated. I feel like I just showed a bit of behind the scenes of that on the last live stream, which would have been 3 Sundays ago. So September 24th. If you go look at that one, you will probably see some. It wasn't a good explanation because it's been a while since I've set it up, and I've forgotten how a lot of it works. Audio routing is complicated. Oh, here's a question from earlier. I have an ATEM 1ME 4K switcher in Blackmagic Studio 4K Pro, but I'm unable to use the comms and the cameras in the switcher. The switcher doesn't have any comms port. Is there a way to use the comms in my system? Ooh, I'm sorry. I don't think I have the answer to that, because I've never used the 4K one, and I definitely don't have any Blackmagic 4K cameras. I thought, let's take a look at the website really quick. ATEM 1ME 4K. I could have sworn that there was a comms port in it, though. ATEM Wait, is the 1ME 4K the old one? This one. Aha. Yeah, ATEM 1ME 4K. Do we have... Here we go. That's audio in, analog audio. Yeah, there's no comms. Interesting. Because on the other ones, there are... I thought there were comms ports on the other ones. I don't know if there's a good solution. You might have to buy some other thing for it. Sorry. Yeah. What's the most effective way to bring remote guests to the ATEM Extreme switcher? This is a tough question because there's nothing built in the ATEM to help you with this. So the way you have to think about it is, what is the easiest way you can get a remote guest into HDMI? And there are a bunch of different options. The anything from like pull up a full screen web page of Video.Ninja on a laptop and up with that laptop screen, or if you use the new Zoom integrations, there's a couple different versions of like Zoom ISO, where you can grab Zoom participants out of as like NDI, or out of a DeckLink card, put that into your ATEM. So they're all going to be several different steps to and other pieces of gear to buy to get that going. So it's unfortunately not a quick answer. Circuit Baker, was there any update on the giveaway? Thank you for the reminder. So this was the giveaway that we launched at IBC. I'll drop the link again there. The giveaway link is at this link I just dropped in the chat. Originally, the goal was to announce the winners last week. However, due to a number of factors, that did not happen. So the deadline is extended now to 2 Sundays from now. So 13 days left. And I will be able to update you next week. I should know the actual prizes that are in the giveaway. Right now, all we know is that it's something from these brands who are involved: Axu and OBSBot, Aperture, and YoloLive. So we will soon know what the actual prices are. But yeah, you have 2 more weeks, and there are a couple different ways to enter. There's a secret code in the stream from 2 weeks ago, so you can go back and watch that and try to find it. And hopefully we will be able to announce the winners in 2 weeks. And don't forget to mash that like button, says Eric. Thank you. Will the Blackmagic app also be available for Android phone users? They didn't mention anything about Android right now, so I would not hold my breath for it, but also they might do it. I don't know. I am suspecting, I'm not going to hold my breath for it, because just based on how I know app development goes, you can't just like port your app to the other platform. It doesn't work that way. It's like everything is like super specific, especially when you're talking about the level of camera control that they want to do for that kind of thing. So it's also like easier to build for iPhone usually because there's less different devices to test on, whereas Android can run on a huge variety of devices. So I wouldn't hold my breath for that. Alex says, it'd be cool if you can use the ATEM to control the Blackmagic camera app. I agree. That would be very cool. They again didn't mention that. Not convinced it's possible because of it's not an actual HDMI connection to the app, but it would be very cool. I agree. How does one get to the members stream? Good question, James. So first you have to become a channel member. And once you are a channel member, you should see it on my channel page. It should pop up like any other stream would, but it'll be on the channel page. It'll then say members only behind the scenes stream. I've got 2 streams live right now. One is for members only. And you can see the other members only streams on here from past weeks. I usually do a BTS stream as we are going live. Members also have access to the members Discord, where we've been chatting throughout the week and sharing stuff throughout the week. And sometimes I post things in there about things I'm testing out before I've got a chance to do a video on it. So it's fun to get a sneak peek into what's going on. What are you doing has a great point on that. Follow-up point to that question. Most effective is pretty subjective. First question is, how are you communicating with a remote guest? Yeah, I think start with if you know your guests either could use Zoom or have to use Zoom, that's going to limit you to a certain set of options. If your guests are in a full, able to have like a full home studio and use like a Flypack or an ATEM, that's a whole different kind of workflow. If you want them to join from a phone, that's a whole different consideration. So that's probably a better place to start. Since you have a worldwide audience, should you not publish the start time of your weekly live stream using GMT? Probably. But hey, so in the email that I send out, I do send out the time in a bunch of time zones. So there's always that. But yeah, maybe I should change my little channel header to GMT. We had a whole long conversation about it. You may have more answers if you want to search for it. Oh boy, okay, I'm just catching up in the chat, so we'll see how that goes. How are we doing on time? 15 minutes or so left. Let's see if I can start knocking some of these out faster. We talk about video encoding, but not much about audio encoding. How much do you change your audio encoding settings, and can you in the ATEM? There's not a lot of audio settings in the ATEM. There's, I believe you can set the bit rate similar to how you set the video bit rate, but you can't change the codec. I think it's all fixed, but so is the video codec in the ATEM, so you don't get any options there. Hardy Media says, would love to see a whole review and demo of your use of the Midas MR18. So it is the Behringer X32 now, but very similar. It just has more stuff, so it's even more overwhelming. I don't know. It's a lot. I don't know if I can do it. I would have to go back and remind myself how it's all set up, because there's like 3 layers to it, because I'm also using the MADI card and routing these things, routing those things, and then where is it? There's user input where I have certain channels mapped. Why did I pull that one out? I don't remember. It's probably important for some reason. Oh, it's because my microphone for this desk is plugged directly into the mixer, but for the table, the microphone goes into that camera. So I want to pull the audio out from that camera into the mixer as channel 2, so I can have a desk mic and a table mic. So that's why input 2 is actually routed through to card 1, which means it's MADI audio 1. Anyway, this gets complicated fast. That's my point. And it's going to take me a long time to even remember what I've done there. So I recently upgraded from the Mini Extreme to the Constellation HD. Any tips on how to train my brain to use more than one ME in real life? Which Constellation HD did you get? The 2 ME? So I think the way I would think of it is, and I've also had to train myself to think this way too, because with a 1 ME ATEM, whether it's a mini or whatever, you are thinking of essentially you have one canvas to paint on, and you can either switch cameras on that, or you can use your upstream downstream keys to paint stuff onto that one canvas. once you have two MEs, you have two canvases to paint on. You have your ME1 and your ME2, and then you can send that secondary canvas to the program, to ME1. So the way I've been trying to think about it is, if I need to have two different things ready to be able to cut to quickly, trying to get them ready on the secondary ME so that I don't have to cut between two active layouts. The other thing I've been thinking about is like, oh, I could think about the deeper MEs. I don't know what to call them. ME2 and 3 and 4. They're like lower in the stack. Think of them as like, I can create preset scenes there that I might want to be able to cut to, where I'm not also then changing presets. It does take a while to kind of get your head around. And I will also admit I have not actually used more than two MEs on the show. Really, I've never really taken advantage of all four yet for this, but it takes a while to get your head around it. You got the 4ME. Okay, so I mean, the main reason that I got the 4ME was for all of the other things that come along with the 4ME, like the 40 inputs, the all those, the extra media players, video clip players, all that kind of stuff. So yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm so far behind in the chat. I'm so sorry. Other than Aperture and Neewer, what other lights work with a Stream Deck? Do Aperture lights work with a Stream Deck? That would be great news, because I just replaced all of my lights with Aperture lights, because I was like, I want to be able to control all my lights from the computer, and now I have my all my lights in here, so I can turn everything off and turn it on from my computer. Although for some reason my two main lights at the desk got disconnected, and I don't know why. So I have to repair those. But it is pretty cool to have the scenes, and I can do like the quick shots to be like totally change the look in here. I don't know why I made that scene. Vaguely Halloween, or go back to my main look. But if I can do this from Companion, that would be even better. Something's different. Something didn't get turned back on. I think it was... Looks like my quick shot is not quite... This one didn't get turned back on. This is just the Sidus Link app running on my M1 Mac, because I can run iPhone apps on the computer. It's very cool. But it'd be even better if I could do that through Companion. I don't know. The other way I've done light control is by putting them on Zigbee power switches, like Wi-Fi or Zigbee power switches. Then you just power on the light remotely. Why do you think they don't put ISO on the 4K ATEM? I think it's a what do you call it? Physical limitation, I guess. I think that in order to get the disk speeds fast enough to record that, and the just internal bandwidth to do that, it would require either a lot more hardware, but also generate a lot more heat that would need to get dissipated somehow. So, yeah. Okay. Well, I'm trying to scroll through the chat without getting lost in the conversations that are happening. I'm going to go to the question queue. Do you have any experience with live camera shot scripting programs, QPilot, LiveEdit? Maybe a similar result can be achieved with Companion. I haven't used any of those, but you definitely can do things like this with Companion, that's what I did last week or 2 weeks ago on the automated stream, where if you go into companion, you can have triggers which can press buttons for you or do things. And this one was a sequence that ran at a certain time to cut between different camera angles live, totally automated. So, yeah. I like the darker lighting without the table hair light. Makes the background look very cool. It does make it look more dramatic. Oh, and the left light on the other table is off. Yep, you're right. Here, I'll turn that back off. Now I've got more moody vibes going. It is fun being able to do it from the computer. Oh my gosh, there's so many comments. Some HDMI splitters also have an audio extractor built in. Oh, good point. Yeah, if you need that. Josh says, I want to both record and use a USB-C out to connect to a computer for Zoom calls. I already have an ATEM Mini Pro. Record, ATEM Mini Pro, record, but also use a USB out to Zoom. That's the problem with the ATEM Mini Pro. Yeah, it's got one USB port, so you kind of can't do it. You're going to have to do something else. So you're going to have to either record from an HDMI recorder to use the HDMI out for that, and then you don't have multi-view. Yeah, that's the problem with the ATEM Mini Pro. Not a lot of ways around it. The ATEM Mini Extreme gives you 2 USB outputs, so you can do exactly that. Record to a USB drive on one and send the other to Zoom. So unfortunately, that's just kind of the deal. Does the Blackmagic app work well with NDI? No, there's no NDI in the Blackmagic app. I'd like to see SRT out from the Blackmagic iPhone app. That would be cool. Yeah, if you could stream out via SRT, that would be very cool. Do you love SDI? I personally feel like HDMI needs to be phased out. It's not a professional connection, but I feel like I'm alone in that I want more cameras and product to support SDI. You're not alone. There's so many reasons why HDMI is a terrible option for the video production, video broadcast world. The licensing fees for the hardware, terrible. Most of the new features of HDMI are not needed for this stuff. Like, I don't need to be able to have the ATEM and a camera negotiate the frame rate and resolution, because I would rather just know that everything is locked to begin with. The distances that HDMI goes are extremely limited unless you go to fiber HDMI. I totally agree with you that I think everything in the video production world should just be SDI 100%. Horology Biology watches. I literally just purchased a Mini Pro, hoping the multi-view options are great for recording what I do with 4 cameras. So if the ATEM Mini Pro ISO can record all 4 cameras at the same time, which is, again, still the cheapest 4-channel recorder. So I think that's a great option. The limit is just that you can't do you can't use the USB out for 2 different things. It's either going to be your webcam into your computer, or if you don't do that, you can record to a drive with it. So I think it's a great option. HDMI is good for small productions. It's only good for small productions. I don't think SDI is bad for small productions, if that makes sense. TVJ says everything is SDI once we get above a certain level for the reasons just listed. Yeah, totally. Like, the HDMI only makes sense for small productions, but those small productions would also work just fine if more things supported SDI. You're not using any of the HDMI features when you do small single room productions. Yeah. OBSBot demo coming soon. Yes. In fact, I can give you a sneak peek of something that I've been testing. It's not ready. It's not really ready to show yet. But one of the new features in the OBSBot camera, so it's actually sitting up there. You can see it with a little green light. That is the OBSBot camera, Tail Air 2, and they just put out a new beta firmware that adds PTZ protocol Visca support. So what I did was I made a companion page to control the camera. So I've got a pan left, pan right, up, down, zoom in, zoom out. This adjusts the speed. And the way I did this was the OBSBot is set up as a Sony integration. So it's I made a companion integration called Sony camera, because that's the where I guess it also supports Visca, but it was standard enough that it worked. So check this out. I can where's my page? Let's see. How do I do this? Let me AirPlay my phone again so that you can see the buttons I'm pressing. And we're going to go and use SuperSource 2 for this. Speaking of 4, I mean, SuperSource, I also like having 2 super sources. So this is going to be the Apple TV. And this is going to be the 16. Great. So now I can show you that. Okay, so here's my little companion page, and this is the video feed from that camera. So I can now go, let's go to slow speed, and I can pan, and it just goes until I press stop. It's a little bit dark in here. Let me get this light back on. So I can move the camera up, down. I can go faster. I can zoom in. Go like that. Go over to the table, zoom in. You can look at the little SD cards on the desk. Zoom in even more. And then you can even save these as presets. So I can save this as preset 3, and then I can go jump over to position 1, jump to position 2, go to position 3. So this is all working just like a PTZ camera now, which is pretty cool that you can script it from Companion. So keep an eye out for some more things from that. Pretty fun. Oh, we got more SDI conversation going on. Seems like HDMI came in for the prosumer market, and they just went hog wild and trying to make it fit when they started selling so much after COVID. I don't think it was a COVID thing. I think it was just a clear path that they were on. I moved to, oops, where did they go? I moved to fiber because SDI is also limiting, but fiber cables are really fragile. So looking for cables that don't break easily. Yeah. SDI cables are probably the reason why small productions don't use them. You can buy HDMI cables everywhere, but you'll never find SDI cables at a store because most people make their own. That is a good point too. The only thing HDMI has that SDI hasn't is the control channel that Blackmagic uses for camera control. With SDI, you need 2 cables instead of 1. That is good. A good point also. SDI devices are also more expensive. Depends on the device, because ironically, SDI it costs extra money for the manufacturer to add an HDMI port than it does for the SDI because of the chips needed to decode, but also the licensing fees. So, yeah. Have you tried adding the PTZ stop command to the release of each direction button? Oh, good idea. No, I haven't done that yet. How is the video feed going from the camera going to the ATEM? So the OBSBot Tail 2 has an HDMI port, which is why I'm interested in it. So it's just an HDMI connection. Eric says, I have to say the zoom level on the OBSBot is pretty good. Maybe not as good as a Canon Panasonic, definitely not as good, but pretty good. Yeah, I agree. Okay, we're over time. Let me see if any last minute things I can call out here. What are you doing since I'm on the other side of the country? Wish I could come over or look over your mixer and help you explain to everybody. That would be fun. That sounds like a good idea. I just need to spend more time with it too. Any update on the Chrome chat plugin issue? Oh yeah, the Chrome plugin I wrote for YouTube chat has this weird bug that I have not been able to figure out, where anytime you click a message, the right click menu pops up. I don't have a good solution for it yet. I just today thought of a plan for how to solve it, which is kind of silly, but might be the only way I can solve it. So if I go over to, this is the stream, we do pop out chat. The problem is that it's probably not going to happen right now. Oh, it did happen to me finally. Oh my God. So, well, now I'm even more confused because this is what I was going to do. I was going to say, so see if this thing popped up even though I just clicked. And it's a big long menu, right? It's it goes all the way down to add as moderator. And if I click on this, what I was going to do was I was going to force this bottom part of the window to be on top so that it would cover up this, because in other people's streams, this is on top. And now that I'm trying this out, one, the problem is finally happening to me, which it has not yet before. And two, weirdly, it's already behind. So maybe the problem is solved. If not, then I'm even more confused than I was before. So I had not been able to reproduce that previously. So that's interesting. Yeah. I know it's not just you. I know it's not just you, TVJ, because I definitely have had other people report the problem, and I've seen it on other live streams, and it happens to Lily as well. However, it had not yet happened to my computer, which means I have had no way to troubleshoot it because I need to dig into the web inspector to figure out what's going on. Yeah. So, yeah. Have I tested the new SRT feature of the Bird Dog Mini? I haven't yet. I will, though, because I have a Bird Dog Mini here. So, okay. Oh, and then this question from way earlier. Sorry, I totally missed this. Can you brief more about the RTMP access control via Raspberry Pi? That's a pretty big topic, and unfortunately not simple either. I did play around with adding authentication to the hacky code I did on the Raspberry Pi to receive RTMP streams. It's just that it's a huge can of worms that it opens to make it work. I think at that point I would probably, unless you like specifically need to use Nginx for other reasons, like you need to do something more than just showing the screen over HDMI, like you want to send a copy of it somewhere or transcode it to something else or add overlays or merge it with other videos, all that kind of stuff that you can do with that stack. I think I would, at this point, recommend that you go and use a Magewell Pro Convert, which gives you stream keys built in. And it's just going to be a lot easier than dealing with a Raspberry Pi. And yes, it's $400 instead of like $60 for a Pi, if you can find one for $60 at all. But it's probably worth it. Yeah. Okay. I think that we are going to wrap this up because I have to get to work on some video scripts. So I want to make sure I can get a video out this week, and I have not yet recorded one. So I need to record that today. Possibly I can record two. That's really ambitious. But I would like to be able to record some because I am gone again this week. So I want my editor to be working while I'm gone. And hopefully get a video out. We will see. So, okay. Sorry, there's a whole chunk of the chat that I just skipped over. Sorry, but we'll be back next week. We will have more chances to ask questions, try things out. Next week, I'm going to either upgrade my companion live, or if the Magewell Director Mini comes in, we'll try that out live and play around with it. So stay tuned, subscribe, give it a thumbs up. And of course, thank you to all the channel members for your support. Again, channel members get access to the behind the scenes stream, which is where people are watching me from behind, from that camera up on the table. overview of the room, and we start the stream a little bit early and chat ahead of time, and I kind of explain how the show works, what I'm doing. That stream is using this lav mic, but you're hearing me on the main overhead mic right now. And yeah, it was for you, George. And getting some more votes on the Director Mini. So hopefully it comes in. It should be on its way. Anyway, yes, channel members also have access to the members Discord, so we can keep in touch throughout the week and learn about what's going on, see a sneak peek of features like the OBSBot PTZ. So yeah, stay tuned. Thanks again for your support, and we will see you all again, same time, same place, next week. Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.